Hi, I'm Sabrina Brown, founder and CEO of Girlfriends Tea, where we offer magnificent luxury tea with your enjoyment in mind. Girlfriends Tea ranks within the top 5% globally of luxury teas. You can visit us at girlfriendstea.com and click on Shop Now, where you receive delicious flavors such as Uniquely Golden, Unapologetically Berry, The Other Bourbon, and the ever popular Belle of the Ball. Because ladies, we are all the belle of the ball. I invite you to try a sample pack if you're visiting for the first time so that you can try all of the flavors. Thank you for joining me for a cup of tea. Good evening, everyone. Can you see the big smile on my face? Well, I'm always excited about our guests, but I'm extra excited about the two guests that we have today. I just love them, and I'm just honored to be able to have them as guests on Girlfriends Tea. So we'll be welcoming back one of them, and the other one is new to being on Girlfriends Tea. But I first have to bring in co-host Tamika. Where are you, Tamika? Where have you been, girlfriend?
Hello, girlfriends. Hello. Excited to be back here with you all. And as usual, I will be on Facebook monitoring, being the commentator. So any comments, feedback, please drop those in there. So happy to be back again.
Well, we're happy to have you. And as you know, we're always supporting the girlfriends. Before we bring on our ultimate girlfriends, Tamika, tell them about what you do with TKS Travel Adventures. Just share briefly, share your page. I know you don't look at you like you should be you're frozen. But just tell them something, girl, because you do something too.
I do. In addition to being a civil servant on the side, I'm also a travel agent. I myself love to travel, so I'm always going somewhere, building packages for folks. So if anyone's interested in travel and whatnot, feel free to reach out to me. Have been all over the world myself, so happy to share some of my experiences.
Well, you've been all over the world, and I've been all over Hampton Roads. So how about that? So I'm going to bring in our lovely guests. I'm so excited to have them here. None other than my pastors, in plural, Pastor Lady J, McBath, and Pastor Lydia Osborne. Hello, girlfriends.
Hello.
Hello. Y'all are glowing.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
glowing. Yes. And it reminds me of just, how you all always are in your delivery and everything. Now, I'm not going to start the interview because I have to do the proper thing. Now, Tamika, you need to come back in because we got to toast them. You know what we do. So I want to welcome y'all to Girlfriends Tea. All right. Here we are.
Yes.
This is how we toast. I just love it. This is how we do. We make sure we honor our ladies before we start the interview. Yes. Now we'll get into the real business. Okay, Tamika, I know you're ready to go. So, y'all, thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Oh, you're so very, and y'all are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So are you?
Beautiful. Oh, thank you. Y'all look just alike. Those beautiful eyes that I know you got from your mom. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce them, y'all. Y'all, Sabrina, go with the interview. All right. So, Lady Janeen McBath co-pastors with her husband, Bishop B. Courtney McBath, at Calvary Bible Church in Norfolk. She's a teacher, business leader, mentor, and advocate. She travels both locally and abroad, speaking with a transparent and straightforward approach while encouraging the hearer to embrace their purpose-filled journey with God, empowered by prayer, and I love this, and a foaming chai tea latte. Janeen seeks to give a voice to the least of these. In her passion for social justice, she has become an advocate for single teen moms as the founder of House of Esther organization. When she is not serving the community, Janeen eagerly awaits quality time, amen to that, with her husband, Courtney, and enjoys being a mother to her 5 children and Mimi to her grandchildren. Now, we're going to welcome you again before I get to our other girlfriend. But I will say I had never heard of Mimi until you all. And I know that's a common name. Never heard Mimi. Didn't know. I thought that was a nickname. I didn't know it was a name for being a grandmother. I really didn't. So, Pastor Lydia Osborne is a campus pastor at Calvary Bible Church in North Virginia. She serves alongside her husband as well, Pastor David Osborne. Discipleship, creativity, generosity, and entrepreneurship are shared passions of both David and Lydia as they engage this generation to create a platform to redefine the culture with an eye for design, and I can vouch for that, Pastor Lydia, and philanthropy. She has created a brand, Altruist, an extension of her unique expressions to connect this generation to something greater than themselves. Lydia brings a message of the gospel in ways that will break cultural barriers and empower believers to be transformative agents in hard to reach arenas of culture for the kingdom of God. One of her greatest achievements is parenting with her husband. There are 4 superhero boys. I like that. Samuel, Jacob, Roman, and Micah, and enjoying this journey of life. Well, I would say that both of you have something in common.
Yeah.
You have a lot in common. Yes. I know that you work together in House of Esther and pastoring. But before I start, because I'm just excited about this, we're gonna have some fun. But I am gonna share before I start asking questions. Decades ago, maybe over 10 years ago, Lady J, I saw you in TJ Maxx and she was just shopping. But recently, within the past several months, I saw you in Pastor Lydia in TJ Maxx. And I want to share this, you all, because I thought it was so profound to what's coming up with the transition and how much they're friends now, mother, daughter, but friends. Yes. And so I shared, I won't say, but I shared with Pastor Janeen. I said, yes, Lady J, I would love to see this. And you know what she said? I have to check with my pastor. I just died laughing, and so did they. So that's when I knew, wow, the transition is here. The transition, still powerful, still a pastor, but there's nothing greater, I think, than being able to trust your children.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right.
There's a lot of parents who don't trust their children.
That's right. That's
right. What they do. So we got Gerald Collins here. I'm just going to go through some of these. Hey, girlfriend. Katrina. Go ahead, Katrina. These are all members of the church right now. Hello to my pastors. And then Busy, she's not a member. She said, I know that's right. Right. So we know that not everybody trusts with their children. So I love what you display together as mother and daughter. Of course, I love the being a spouse, but we're here to talk about the girlfriends. That's what we're here for. So there were moments, and I love this. I have your book.
Okay. All right.
Lydia, Pastor Lydia, I have your CD from when you did the Princess Breakfast. Yeah. So I keep that stuff. I still have that. I don't get rid of anything. And then I have other things that you've ministered on. And you all don't know this, but before this interview, I went back to Glow 2022. And I watched both of you because I wanted to be in the moment.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't want to just read something about you. I wanted to be reminded of who I'm interviewing. Mm-hmm. So there were moments, you say this in your glowing moments, and you all can get this. They can still get this, right?
Yes.
Calvary Church, crcglobal.org. Go find this. I'll put the link after the interview. It's an excellent devotional. There were moments in our lives on day 3 in the journal, Lady J says, where there seemed to be no one, parents, siblings, friends, that could come, find, or rescue us.
Yeah.
And I think we've all experienced that.
Right.
In our private moments. So we need these glowing moments.
Right.
Yeah, remind us of who we are and who God has given us to be. So to kick off, everybody, if you don't know, this is a kickoff of the Mother's Day special with interviews. So we're going to interview mothers. And I couldn't think of a greater mother and daughter team to interview than my own pastors, McBath and Pastor Lydia. So I'm going to ask you a question. Share a moment in motherhood, and either can go first, where you experienced wanting to be rescued?
Well, I guess I would see rescued from fear as a mom, just wanting to make sure that I put the right foundation in my children. Because as a mom, especially a new mom, you want to make sure, am I doing everything right? Am I being too hard? Am I being too soft? But there's that fear of making sure that you put the right foundation in your children, both spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. So that was a big fear of mine until I got to number 4. Then I was like, I think I got it now.
Yes. I know you had it. And what about you, Pastor Lydia?
I would say, probably having at the time 4 children, 5 and under. I wanted to be rescued from exhaustion. I was so tired. And it's so wonderful to have, other mothers and just women in your life that are able to help meet your needs. We're not supposed to do all this by ourselves.
Right.
And I think sometimes, I have a very strong, capable mother. And so there were those moments I thought, I just got to do this, got to figure it out on your own. But, that's why we have community. That's why we have good friends. And I would have friends that would come over and let me rest. My mom would come help me out. So, just being able to ask for help. I think in those moments, because sometimes we think we're so alone, but sometimes that's because we haven't really expressed the need for help. That's so that year that I was like, I don't know what I'm about to do, all these boys. and so, that was probably one of the moments where I started the practice of asking for help. It's like, you got to make that just a part of your everyday, just your everyday life. Just be okay with asking for help.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. And one thing I can say, we know that parents are tested many times, but I love that both of you are transparent. Now, I know Pastor Lydia came more transparent than Lady J. Because Lady J, I loved it. We won't share, but I love when Pastor Lydia said something that your Aunt Leslie shared that she didn't know. Say, "Oh, do tell." That was funny. You had to be there, y'all.
Yes,
you weren't there. I'm sorry, but it's okay to be transparent. But I think this is my outside opinion. I think you encourage your mom, Pastor Janeen, to be a little bit more transparent. She liked it or not, you put it out there. So I love that. But of course, nice things. But we know that parents are tested many times, because I know I tested my mom.
Right.
God knows I did. And I wish I hadn't tested her as much as I did. Oh, God. But what advice do either of you have, or both of you, about walking through the trials of motherhood?
I think learning how to commit your children to the Lord. I think that's a big step, because as parents, I think we want to make sure that they're doing things right, and you want people to, you want your kids to do what you want them to do. But I think committing them to the Lord, because the Lord knows what's best for your children. And, he knows how to guide them and lead them. And so I had to learn how to just commit them to the Lord. And I mean, even to their adulthood, not only when they were children, but even as adults, to just commit them to the Lord and let God work it out in their lives. Right. Even though there were things that I wanted to see them walk through or do, maybe it wasn't time. Maybe, they weren't ready for that. So I had to commit them to the Lord.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah, I think that's it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because there's a part of you that has to release control. You can't control everything. Right. And I think that's a big transition. You go from these babies, and you do control it all. You're nursing them, or you're feeding them. You change their diaper. So you have you control a lot of just the way you're guiding them in that way and taking care of them. But then there's got to be a point, and where I'm right now, I have a teenager. Yes. So that's a whole other space that has got me in a different prayer posture, I think I'd say lately. But I agree with my mothers. There has to be a point where you trust the Lord. And it's like, I give him everything he needs. I continue to pray for my kids. But there's a part where they just got to learn on their own. And you have to be, you got to let them do that let the Lord develop them. Yes. And he's designed them a special way. And I'm here to facilitate a lot of that. Right. But I'm in awe of the things that they learn on their own when I let them fall and figure it out, and they become resilient, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah. because we're just stewards really over them. You know, God is still the shepherd of their lives. And so they have to know God for themselves, right? My kids had to know God for themselves, you know, even though I wanted to beat it into them, but they had their own experiences and, you know, their own testimonies of how they found God for themselves, you know.
Yeah. I think that's why even we joked with, like, you know, I'm definitely more outspoken. I always have been. I was always getting marks on my report cards of she does so well in school, but she talks a little too much, you know. So I've been, but the thing is with my mother that I've always loved is that she always gave me that space to just, you know, I can mess up, but I'll figure it out. So, you know, sometimes I do talk too much, and she'll help me, you know, Lydia, you know, maybe not so much, but she loves it. And I think there's an openness that we share that it's, you know, that she lets you be yourself. And I love that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm surprised to hear that, Pastor Lydia, about you, because I just see you as being so reserved. But I definitely got it on my report card so much that it wasn't even funny. I mean, I really did. And some things never change. I do talk a lot, but I've learned to reel it in. But I do know that I talk a lot. And so when I think about that, what you always share is like, you know, what our mom taught us. For me, my mom taught me, my mother was pretty much a loner. She really didn't have that life. You know, she was busy raising us. And I remember she would say to me, and I didn't agree with her at that time, you know, Sabrina, you will find, you know, you have a lot of people around you, but you will find that your friends are limited as far as when you really need them. And I thought it was just mom, but I did learn, and it's nothing bad. It just means that everybody's not meant to be in that intimate space, that intimate space, you know? So what did your mom, for both of you, teach you that is still, or Lady J, what did your mom teach you that is still paying dividends in your life?
Well, really how to take care of my money. You know, my mom was very good on taking care of money and running the household. And so helping me to know how to take care of my money and be a giver. And, you know, my name means gracious one. And I think my mom has, you know, when she named me, I don't think she knew that quite as much, but it means gracious one. And my mom has taught me how to be a giver because I've watched her give to people. You know, we cook big meals every holiday, whatever. And people used to come through her house and they would take food home like they had been to the grocery store. And even today, and even today, that's like it is at my house. I don't know how to cook small. All I know how to do is cook big. Even when my kids are not there, I just cook big. But they come home and they get to take things home. Their friends take stuff home. My kids come and shop at my house like they go at the grocery store. So it's just learning how to be a giver. And I like to give to people, especially the people who don't have.
Mom, my mom cooks out of generosity. So I think she's just designed to look for the other person. So it comes out in her meals because we're like, where are all these other people at that you cook for? But somehow people show up or need food. And it's just a beautiful, I think, trait that was even passed down to me. There's always wanting to be prepared to give more if you can, and be anticipating that someone is in need. And so for me, one of the things that I learned from my mom is that, you know, to learn how to work with what you have. My mom would always say, you know, what's in your hands. And what that taught me in those early years, even with the kids, is, you know, becoming innovative and creative with what I have. And I didn't have to, you know, I couldn't go to TJ Maxx for all their clothes. Even back then, you know, we go to the thrift store and, you know, in the fall, it would be a long sleeve shirt, but in the spring, I'd cut those arms off and we got a short shirt. So we know how to do things. We know how to, you know, she taught me how to sew. So I knew how to take care of like a hole in a sock or just things like that before I started my family. So I felt very prepared and I learned how to be resourceful, you know, so I wasn't limited by what I didn't have, but with what I did have, what else can I do? And that really just kind of, I think, created in me just a creativity that I didn't know I had. And I think until you get in some of these moments, you know, where you don't really realize all that has been put inside of you. And it's just like, Lord, help me to see what I have. And, you know, you'd pray and, oh, I can do this. And that's how so many of like the business things that have come is just because I work with what I had and people wanted it. And then you'd sell things and make money. I mean, it's just, you know, don't limit God based upon the resources that you see.
That's right.
And you just learn to just grow things. You just learn to be resourceful. I think that is just really wonderful trait that I've learned from my mom.
And the thing I love about Lydia, she is such a great mom. As I sit back, it's so rewarding to be able to look back at your children as they've gotten older and just see how they take care of their home and how they take care of their children. And, Lydia doesn't just have a house, she has a home. And because when you walk in here, it feels like a home. And her kids, they love being at their home. Today, kids don't want to be at home, but her kids
Yes.
home, because her house is not just a house, it's a home. And when I walk in here, I just like, wow, it just feels like home. And that's rewarding as a mom.
So you're at her house now.
Yes.
And look at you both say yes at the same time. I love it. I love it. So speaking of Pastor Lydia, I recall you sharing that Lady J, and I think this was in 21. I think this was the first Glow Virtual. And I was really impressed with this. I said, wow, this is deep. That Lady J saved the first bouquet of flowers that Pastor David gave you. I thought that was so special. And I think, did you show them to us? Were they dried? Did they dry naturally, or did she freeze dry? I'll let you share.
Naturally, she still has.
I still have them.
She still has them in her house.
They're in my house.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah, she has them in a sitting room. They were a big, huge bouquet of flowers that David brought to me at church. And, I've told the story. David pursued me for 6 years,
Yes.
in which I denied him at every turn. And this moment was one of the times that he brought these flowers. And I did not want the flowers. I didn't want to be in a relationship with him. I was just like, okay, I think my mom was like, I'm taking them. And there was always something about my mother being able to see just how God sees us. Like, you may not realize it now, but this is special. And this has so much meaning beyond what you think right now. So my mom kept the flowers, and I see it to symbolize, she saw something that I just didn't see at the time. She saw a love. There's something mothers have, I think, for their children, that they have the capacity to be able to see and love them beyond what you even see for yourself. And so she just saved them, until I changed my mind. And and after we got married, so she still has those flowers.
Yeah.
So every time we go over, the kids like, those are flowers Dad got you. And
That's right.
everyone knows the story. So there's just a beautiful piece of our story that my mom captured that we're able to just still enjoy and just look back at and just be like, wow, when you didn't see it, your mom saw it, and so she was in prayer over that one, because she was like, "You gonna marry this man."
I love it.
It's like a memorial stone,
That's right. It's like something I was seeing a movie. I would never guess that a mother's your instinct would be so powerful, and just knowing what you wanted for your daughter, what God would eventually show her.
Yeah, anytime that, I kept them, because I said anytime that they ever, because, marriages go through, they go through things. And so I said, you know what, I'll keep these flowers. If they go through, I'm going to bring them right to this room and show them flowers and let them know this is a love story. We're going to continue the story, to continue the journey. Yep.
I think that's a great scene for a movie. That's unusual. That's unusual. And I think it's profound. It is profound. So let us talk about dating. That was a great segue, what you all said about the flowers. Dating, boy. I know let me put it to you this way. I had more belt whips than I did special moments. But I was a little bad then. So I was a little bad. So mama had to reel me in. So she had to, give me whippings and everything else. And one thing about me, I don't know about both of you, because Janeen, you were a daughter too. But when my mother would whip us, I used to get so angry because my sisters would scream. We were out in the projects, Tidewater Park. They would scream so loud, everybody heard them. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't cry, because I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want anybody to know I was getting a beating, and I would get the beatings the longest until I started crying. And I still wouldn't scream. And to this day, I'm traumatized that I'm getting whipped because I refused. It was hurting me, but I didn't want all my friends to hear me.
Right.
I was hurting because my mother was loud. So that's one of those scars that God took away. And I love her. I knew that that's what she got when she was growing
That's
up.
right.
So she had moved beyond that. But we're going to talk about dating. So for both of you, and I'm going to let Pastor Janeen go first, because she's the one, as you know, Pastor Lydia, that rarely shares the good stuff with us. So we're going to let her share. So was your mom, Pastor Janeen, the kind that would drill you about your date, or was she more laid back and observant and just let you do your thing?
Drilled us about dating because we came up in Pentecost. Okay. So we couldn't date. So dating was not something we could do. So if you want to meet anybody, you better meet them at school, in the yard or something, but you are not going to tell her you have a boyfriend. So I did not really date till I got my husband, till me and Bishop got together. And even in that, my dad would sit in the living room. Now we lived in the projects. My husband would sit in there and would try to have a relationship. And my dad would sit in the living room until 11 o'clock and then tell my husband he got to go. Now, my husband was 17. He was away from home from Tennessee. He was free as a bird, but not me. My dad told him, you can go. You can go now. It's time for you to go. And that was all the way up until I got married. So dating for me was not easy. It was not easy at all. Now, for Lydia, that's a different story.
It is a different story. We're not sure, but that was Poppy. So we all know Poppy from the church. So
yes,
that was Poppy saying he had to go.
Yeah,
okay, it's your turn. It's your turn, Pastor.
How was my mother with dating? Now, most of my dating was hidden. Like I knew I could not bring any of those guys in front of my parents. So I was more of the sneaky. You won't know anything.
I did that too. I did it too. I'm sorry.
That girlfriend back then that you would see me at all of his family functions, but you would never see him at anything for mine. No one knew that he existed, unfortunately, because probably it was just the best.
Yes,
that I did not bring them around anyone. But yeah. So but with David, I started making some changes in my lifestyle, and then my mom and David's mom had like an email, and they would email each other like praying that we would get together.
Oh no!
So
that tag team.
Yes, like a mother intercessory team.
Yes,
for me, and it wasn't for David. It was all for me.
They knew Pastor Dave was ready, huh?
Yeah, he was ready.
Oh yeah. So she was praying like, there was a moment. Okay, I'll share this funny moment. So there was a moment at the house, and my mom. So I was standing far away at the dining room table. So I was at one end and she was at the other end. So she was just laying into me. I don't know why you don't like good Christian men. Why don't you want to date David? And so I told you I'm at the other end of the table because I lost my mind. And I said to her, well, if you like him so much, why don't you marry him?
I remember you sharing that. I remember you sharing that with the church. Yeah.
I really think the Lord had held her hand back or from jumping across that table and smacking me, because I was like, I don't even know why that came out my mouth. But like I said, so she was really passionate about me, just the time I spent, that it would be with someone who loves God, because she knew that he could only love me that much. If he doesn't know the Lord, he's just like, there's things that you don't even know you're going to go through, that if he can't even pray with you, he can't, so you're not thinking of that, back then. So yeah, so she was good though. My mom was always like how she held the flower. She always gave me a chance to figure it out.
Yeah.
And she didn't beat me up about how bad these guys were. She really didn't. She knew a bunch of things, because moms know. I was thinking I was being sneaky, but she knew. So I just was able to go through and journey through and get closer to the Lord. And then I changed a lot of my ways. And then, she didn't rub it in my face. She just was smiling like she is now. And, I knew you'd come around. That's it. She just called me a late bloomer.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it so very much. I really do. It's special. It's special to see you, both of you, beaming together now. That's the maturity.
Yeah.
That's the maturity of having walked through some things. And I just love it. And that's all I want
Well,
to say. Mhm.
Sabrina, I have to say this. There were times as a mom that I didn't like Lydia
Mhm.
because of how she was walking. She wasn't walking with the Lord, and she was, there was some rough moments. And so I didn't really like her, and I was like, oh God, I just don't like her. How do I deal with this? I love her, but I don't like her,
Right.
and, but the Lord had to help me to know how to love her in spite of. Love her and see her as he saw her. And
That's right.
and then I think that's what helped me because I didn't have this kind of relationship with my mom. My mom, I loved her. I love my mom, but I didn't have that kind of relationship with my mom. And I always wanted to have that kind of relationship with my daughter or even my sons. And so the Lord has given me that opportunity to have that with my children and with my daughter. And my daughter is like my best friend. She really is.
Yeah.
Pastor David laughs at us because what does he say? Is that your best friend?
Yes. I love that you call her your sparrow.
Yes, that's
I
my
love
sparrow.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, we all be listening and watching, and I understand what you're saying, Pastor Janeen, because my mom, Lady J, went through that with me. I was in school. My mother was happy. My mother never completed high school. She went to 10th grade and she worked minimum wage, and she was glad to see me, not just me, my sisters as well, but I was the first. I was the oldest going to college. And many people don't know it, but I entered ODU as an engineering because I was high in math and science, but I was too busy partying.
Right.
And I didn't want to tell her because I couldn't make it in the engineering. Even though I started out doing good, I couldn't make it. So she was a cashier at a grocery store. And I didn't know what to do. So I started working, but she thought I was going to school. I don't know how she found out. Somebody must have told her.
Oh.
But when she came in my line, oh my God, my mother just showed up. And all I could think was, she about to go in right in here. She just looked at me. I was so embarrassed. And that's when it changed a little bit because I knew she was going to slap me, pop me when I got home. She just said, why didn't you tell me?
Right.
And it made me feel bad. I said, because you would have been upset that I dropped out of school. She said, but Brina. So I had to live with that for a little bit to know that I still don't know who told her.
Wow.
But she just showed up, or maybe I don't think she figured it out. She showed up and I was so embarrassed.
Wow.
So I didn't have that, what you had. I didn't have that warm and fuzzy or what you have now.
Right.
That came late in later years with maturation. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. And that's what happened
to up with it.
Yeah. I didn't get it till later years when my mom moved up here to Virginia and she was sick and I had to take care of her. So, that's where we grew closer. We would go to little craft shows together and things like that. But that's when we got closest when she came here. Other than that, we were not that close like that.
All through teenage years and oh no, we were like,
oh yes.
I would have never saw this type of relationship because I was like, oh, we are just too different. This is not going to work.
I think it's so awesome that you all are there now, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Some people never get there. Right. They never get there. If they do, it's superficial.
That's right.
We can see that it's genuine. So, but mothers, as we know, like I said about my mother, Lydia, Pastor Lydia, your mom, and Lady J, your mom, prior to today, our moms couldn't share about mental fatigue the way we can today because it's more open now. It was not easily discussed, even among family. So I'm grateful for the focus. I really am on mental wellness being prioritized as much as physical wellness because the Bible shares advice on mental wellness. John 14:27 and Matthew 11:28. So everyone experiences feeling down or discouraged, especially mothers. So as Lady J is a speaker at a conference, you talked about how women can get out of their pit. And then I'm going to go to Pastor Lydia. But in Pastor Lydia, you spoke about what you shared about, and I'm going to get to that. But tell us about that pit that you were talking about.
Because it's very easy to get into a pit where, you just feel hopeless, especially if you have a lot of children and, you're trying to make things work. You're trying to manage a home. You're trying to make finances work. And then you care about yourself. You know, you're wondering, am I ever going to be able to do the things in life that I want to do? You know, I mean, even ministry wise, you know, you have a husband that's, you know, known, and a husband that is going in here and there, but you're there at the house with children, and you're going, Lord, well, what about me? You know, so, you know, you have to understand that there comes a time, there's a pit experience where you have to learn that even though you're in this pit, God is in there with you, and he's not forgotten about you. And everything that he has on his mind for you is still good. You know, it's just that timing. I think it's the timing of knowing that when it's time, God makes all things. And I love that scripture. He makes all things beautiful in his time.
That's right. And with you, I know, Pastor Lydia, when you first ministered, I mean, because, you know, when you first got up there, I think I saw that when you first got up there on the platform, I was really amazed at so young how you related to the women. You don't expect that. You really don't. I mean, I knew you would give a good word, but you really relate. I mean, you had some of us crying, and you were talking about, you know, we're not going to elaborate because I'm gonna get to a question for you, but you were talking about our past and how, you know, it doesn't define us. And I thought about the woman at the well, but I just remember, and this was during a Glow conference, that the women just started weeping, and you started weeping, some with us. So every speaker, every agent for Christ, we each have our own gifts. And I was so proud to see you just comfortably share. It showed, you know, the maturity. It showed that God had prepared you for such a time as that, because most people wouldn't have been able to open up on the first. I mean, it was actually one of your first platforms on Glow with everybody like that, all of the women, not just CRC.
Right. No, because you mentioned earlier when I spoke at the Princess Breakfast, and that was the very first time I ever spoke, but also that was the very first time I shared about, you know, being molested and going through sexual trauma and the rape that I had experienced in college. So I was barely 2 years from even sharing and dealing with a lot of that trauma in my own, like, counseling and therapy. And I remember that morning that I had to speak, and my mother had told me that she wanted me to share at this princess breakfast. And I remember looking in the mirror and I said, God, I feel nothing like a princess. So what do I talk about? And I remember he just said, tell your story. So I think that's what's kind of helped me to stay in my lane, is that I'm not trying to be any other voice but my own. And as the Lord just leads me, and as I have gotten closer to him, what you see even during Glow is that, you know, there's always a message in every part of our life. And so for me, it was sharing a lot of the past stuff and how I'd worked through a lot of that trauma. And then I'd worked, I had just decided that, you know, I'm not going to be a victim to my past, you know, and God had already given me freedom and liberty. I just had to learn to walk in it. And so a lot of these things are just practices and habits that I just had to just make a daily habit of mine of just walking in freedom, and then just speaking about, again, not just things that happened to me 10, 15 years ago, but there's things that we have to work through as women 5 days ago. And I think many times we can get caught up in, there's testimonies at every turn in our lives. And that was one part of it. But there's so many other testimonies as I've just gotten closer to the Lord, this becoming and this knowing. And as I've just known him for myself, it is just kind of this blossom, this late bloomer of that my mom's always said that I am. It's just this blooming and blossoming of knowing myself, to where I'm very comfortable to share this, because I know when I hear people talk and connect their story, you know, it just makes you feel like I'm not alone. It helps bring those women out of that pit, because sometimes you stay in a place because you think I'm the only one here. No one else is going through this. And it takes another woman or a friend or sister to be able to tell you, girl, I've been there. And look, we can make it out. It's just going to, and one of the things my mom's always said to me, she said, like, Lydia won't be like this forever. And I think that's a thing that I keep in the back of my mind, even to this day. That's like, if I'm going through a difficult time, you know, I know this isn't going to last forever. And so she's given me courage to be able to walk this life out with resilience, with beauty, and with authenticity, because that's all I know how to do.
Yeah.
You know, us being transparent is not a marketing scheme, or it is just, if you saw me in Starbucks, I'd probably say the same thing to you while we get coffee.
Yeah.
I've always loved talking to people. When I was younger, my parents there was an old couple at our church.
Yes.
And I was, how old? About,
you were young, very
maybe
young.
like 4.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
4 or 5. And they would want me to come over just to talk.
Yeah.
And they said, we just like hearing her
Make
talk.
cookies and talk.
And make cookies and
I love that. I love it.
And so for me, there's always been this, there was a time when I was dealing with all of that where I didn't even recognize my voice, but I think there was a moment where as the Lord began to help me to deal with some healing and all of that, and really just being comfortable with myself, to return to that little 4-year-old voice. It's like, look, I've always created you to open your mouth.
That's right.
And no matter what environment that you're in, you know, I'm with you. And so I've gotten that courage, and that's strengthened me. And I hope to pass that to my boys, to be able to, no matter where you are, you have a reason for your voice to be used. And so, you know, there's a reason why God has asked you to be in whatever space he's put you in.
That's right.
Amen to that. And co-host Tamika, I want to remind everyone, StreamYard has a new whatever. They don't stream to groups anymore. So co-host Tamika, if you could share the live in the group. I forgot it wasn't there. I know the girlfriends are waiting on this interview and it's not in there. So I want to make sure they're able to see it. All right. Thank you so very much. So I see Lisa's with us, so many people, but I want to say something before I go to this next point. Pastor Lydia, I was in that breakfast, but I remember, and we were talking about earlier, we were talking about a village. So a motherhood, who was your village? But before I get to that, I remember Pastor Teresa being there and saying how brave you were. See, I'm telling you, God, I remember. And I don't know if Dr. Cynthia Hale was there.
Yes.
Okay. So I remember those two, and I remember them coming around you, coming alongside you to let you know that you were not alone. And I was like, whoa. And that was a mature village for you. So you know that God used you mightily. But one thing I can say about both of you, and I think I and those who have been around, we know, one thing I can say confidently about both of you is that your gift, you have a gift for speaking and a gift for using props. So Lady J, you do. I love the props. Now, I'm comfortable speaking, but I don't use props like I should. So I need to start using those props because I see y'all be working it. So I got to get the props now. But I recall when you conducted Bible study on Wednesdays, you don't know this, but I would leave work. I would tell them I'm taking off an extra 30 minutes because I only got an hour. But I was working right out there in Commerce Park. I was not going to miss Bible study on Wednesdays with you. But I specifically recall when you wore a bracelet. See, I should have had my props. I should have had the bracelet. When you wore bracelets around your wrist to represent Wonder Woman's superpower to deflect bullets. The bracelets illustrated using the word to quench the fiery darts of the wicked one. Lydia, because I watched now. I went back and watched my Glow conferences, but I do remember this. In Glow 22, you delivered an impactful message titled Unbound, where you used a staff as a prop and said, on the inside of us is a miracle. And we need a friend that can help us stand up straight and see beyond our current condition. So I'm just going to give you a prop. I got a prop.
I love it. Yes.
Awesome. Bang to the bone, girlfriend. And it comes to seriously, because y'all, when y'all up there, it's God. But God uses you mightily in how you deliver. Even Pastor Janeen with the fried fish. I've seen it all, chipping with something on the stage. I don't know if it was an axe. It's just been a whole lot of things going on. But yeah, both of you. So you've picked that up in watching your mom. But I like that you flow with it naturally. You put your own statement out there, your own mark, your own style. Even your dress is different. And I'm going to go off of this, but I got to say this. I remember seeing you. I saw y'all again. It just came to me. It was in, what's the place? Come on, Pembroke Mall. The fancy high-end store.
Nordstrom Rack?
Nordstrom Rack. That's it. Y'all, I saw them and Pastor Janeen and Lydia was shopping. And I went to Lydia and said, you like this dress? She said, no. I did. I was so embarrassed. I I said, this looks like you. I was there. I said, this looks like you, Lydia. She said,
No.
well, you know what? You know what I honor and respect? It wasn't you. Somebody he would have been like, oh girl, thank you. That might be me. See, I lied because I always be so bad. But I like to say, no, that's not me. You gotta know who you are.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
You are.
Correct.
You gotta know. So speaking of which, y'all have a village. So in motherhood, what was your Passionine? Because your children are grown. Lydia, what is your village? So we're gonna either one of you can go. Who's your village, or who was your village?
Well, my village was my pastors. Again, back then, coming up in church and being a baby boomer, it's totally a little different. So you didn't talk to a whole lot of people about nothing. So,
Right.
you kind of kept stuff to yourself or go and pray about it. But yeah, my pastors were my village, Pastor Teresa, Pastor Yvonne Thompson, Mother Marion Brown. They were my village. But, now my village has grown a bit. And now it's become my daughter, it's become the millennials and all that, because now that I'm moving into another culture and another age, I got to know how to minister to all people. And so my village has to grow as well. It has to be different. It can't just be my baby boomers, but I got to know what's going on in this culture. So it's kind of with some millennials and, my daughter. I learned a lot from my daughter, just watching her and just listening to her. She counsels me, so that's good too. I need counsel. Right. So so my village is expanding, it's growing.
Yeah, and I think because growing up, I've always seen my mother have these different variations of women. There was always, I think we were always taught, like, you should always have someone you can reach up to. You get wisdom from. So someone probably older than you, then you have your peers, your colleagues, there are people you reach to the side, they're right here with you. We're maybe at the same place in life. Our kids are the same age. And then you always have people that you're lifting up. So you got people that you're reaching down to. So my village probably mostly has women who I reach up to and that are, in my same space of life. So there are people like my mother's, my mom is like is a separate village itself of just care, support. If I didn't have my mother, I think about it all the time, people who don't have family to help them with their children. We have a lot of military family in our area, and it's a lot of people that don't have that kind of support. And I can only do the things that I'm doing because I have this type of support. So I have my mom, my mother-in-law. I have other women pastors that I speak to. I have a therapist is in my village. Right. Then I have my friends who can pray for me. Yeah. So really close friends that I call on, that I keep up with, and they keep me accountable. And then I do have some younger women that are in my village that I mentor, and they always offer help. They always have me just thinking in new ways too. So I think, I like the challenge of someone older than me, always challenging me, some of my peers, we keep each other accountable, than someone younger that keeps me sharp, that asks me questions. Why do you do this way? I love to be challenged. And I think that's where we see so many different expressions and beauty in ourselves, because, without challenge, we're saying I choose to be stagnant and I don't want to grow. And I want to grow in so many different ways. I like to keep, people around me that will help me to continue to grow.
Yeah. Well, everyone, those who are watching, I'm asking you to share this because this is special. It really is. Just having them both on the same platform. And I'm honored to have you. But I want to get to the sweet spot of motherhood, because we're already seeing it, especially when y'all just don't know. Many people pay attention to what you all say, and I do as well. But I know that you call Pastor Lydia your sparrow, Pastor Janeen. I know you call your sparrow. And I also know that, you all have that closeness. We see it. And so I want to know, what was the epiphany? Because I remember, before I say this, when you were in church, you said to us, the congregation, I trust her with my life. That's what you said, Pastor Janeen, about Pastor Lydia. But what was the epiphany for both of you when you realized that your mom was becoming your friend? So Lady J, that would be your mom. But when did y'all realize that? Because I didn't get that with my mom until maybe 2 years before she passed.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. So it took me a while to get there. It wasn't her, it was me. She would always say, I love you, but I couldn't say I love her back. But
Yeah.
I'm so thankful to God that in the last 2 years I was able to do that. But you may not remember, but do you kind of remember what was
Yeah.
the epiphany when y'all realized that?
Yeah, I think I was kind of like you, Sabrina. It was more when my mom, like I said, when she came to Virginia, and I was able to take care of her because she was sick, and I was, and I had to take her to the hospitals, and I had to pay her bills, for her and my dad. And I think that's when we started getting close because we weren't that close, but we had that opportunity to get close when she got here. My mom would never say she loved me. And that was very hard for me
Yes.
because I was a loving person. I like to give love. And so when not hearing your mom say that she loved you, my mom didn't tell me she loved me till the last time that I preached at church on a Wednesday night. And I had the nurse pick her up because I had a nurse to take care of her if I couldn't be there. And the nurse brought her to the building where we were at, and she said, "I heard you preach," and she said, "I heard it was good," and then she said, "I love you," and I was like, "Oh my goodness," because I had never in all my years of living had my mother said that she loved me. And as I got older though, Sabrina, I started as a mom now. I see that my mom had been married 3 times, and she was in a domestic violence situation. And so my mom traveled through a whole lot. And so I realized that she could only give me as much as she could give.
Come on.
She came out of a situation in her own home where her mom and dad, her dad was very, very mean and very strict. So my mom could only give so much. So now as I'm getting older, and I'm realizing that my mom could only give as much love as she could, So that one time that she said she loved me, and then the last time that I fed her last meal, and she looked up at me and she smiled. And I knew, Lord, if I didn't ever get those other ones, this is the one right here, So
That is special. This is special, y'all. This is so special. We love y'all. We love you very much, Pastor Janeen, and we love you, Pastor Lydia. So I know Pastor Lydia, you want to share your special moment?
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback what my mom said because it's really special. Like we told you earlier, she's in my house, but this was also the house that my mother bought for her parents when she came here. Right. And so, we bought this house and just continuing legacy. And I think it's really important to just, I want to say that you don't always know what your mother has gone through. You don't understand, it's like there's things that maybe you want, but there's got to be a point where you just radically accept that if this is the best that my mom can give me, then I'm going to love every bit of all she can give me.
That's right.
And I think we try at times to try to change people. And I wish it wasn't, but if your mom can do this thing or then I'm going to love her for this one thing that she can do really, really great. So for me, to answer your question, but my mom, when I probably felt that shift was probably after I had my first baby. I mean, our friendship was already growing before then, but what I realized when I became a mom, I loved her as a woman. Like, wow. I saw her as, this is a remarkable woman. And it wasn't until I had children that I realized the type of sacrifices that my mom made, just outside of mother, as just a woman that is so resilient and strong and beautiful. And to know a little bit more of her story and to know that from the way that she shows so much love to us and so many people, you all have all experienced it. Her only got told she was loved twice, but to have the capacity to love and believe in love is so special to me. So I love her. I love this woman. I love her. If I ran into her on the street and she wasn't my mom, I'd ask her to be my mom. I mean, because I've learned to love so many parts of my mother. And need them to be like me for me to accept them or to love them. I think what I love about our friendship is that we allow each other to express the beauty of our own unique design, and we're not all the same. You know, there's some parts of me that, you know, I I see a little more kumbaya, and then my mom's like, take them earrings off, you're gonna have to get down, you know. So I love it because she sent me this really cool quote one time. It's something about like, I want my daughter to be generous and kind and feminine, but I want her to be okay to, you know,
hit him in the throat.
Hit him in the throat one day.
Yes. You
know, and there's so many parts, I think, of our mothers at times that we want to like, oh no, I don't know that, but that part is not me. And instead of rejecting it, maybe learn to see how this is advantageous for you in another way. You know, maybe your mother can be really fierce, but maybe you need that for some part of your job, or you need that for something else. You know, there's things inside of us, and I had learned to allow myself to feel all of those things as I started to just embrace myself fully and love myself, and this knowing that I've grown into. There's so many things about my mom that I have just learned to just really embrace. And that is like, you know, she's like, Lydia, I just wanted, one time she told me, she said, Lydia, I just wanted to know that you have my back. And sometimes I'm always just trying to be the peacemaker, where it's like, sometimes your girlfriend just wants you to know, girl, you gonna get down with me or what?
That's right.
You know, I'm not promoting violence. So I don't want this, but I'm just saying, stand up for them, just to you know, protect them at times. And it helped me to learn how to love her the way that my mom is designed. So it's like, this is a kind of, you have different friendships where, like this friend, I need to be this, I need to give a little more of this. And so, and not all friends are the same. And so I just love what I've learned about my mother and all that she's taught me, that I've seen just redefined within myself to be used in such really cool ways, and that I embrace fully.
You know,
I love it.
That is, Sabrina, is that I know that God has called me to be a birther. And I remember a prophetic word given to me that I would birth. I was like an incubator, that I would birth people's dreams and birth them into their purpose. And, you know, when I look at Lydia, I don't cross lines as a mom. You know, I don't cross lines in her home. They laugh at me all the time. I believe once my kids get married, they leave and cleave. I don't just come hanging in their home. I don't be hanging around in their house. I don't do that. If her husband comes home, I'm out. If I have to drop something off, he always says, why don't mom ever stay? I don't, it's not my house. And, you know, when she's raising her children, I don't cross that line. She knows how to raise her children. I just look, I don't jump in because I am learning how to birth her as being a mom. And, you know, she's doing so well and taking care of her 4 boys, you know, and I'm not going to cross that line. She knows how to raise her children. Those are her children. They're not mine. I don't give my opinion on what, if she asks me, then okay. If she don't ask me, then I'm good. You know, but it's birthing, learning how to birth women, birth people into their purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
This is awesome. I have so many recollections, but I mean, just about you all, you know, what you all have said about each other. I remember, Lady J, when you shared, I think David came to pick you up. He picked you up first, and then Pastor Lydia got in or something, and you said you want to sit in the back seat. I remember that. You didn't feel, and then, so that's that yielding to your daughter's position. And so see, you know, you never know. I didn't
get anything, Sabrina.
I tell you. It's indelible. You know, I watched both of you, and I want to say to you before, and get ready for a game, everyone. They're going to compete. The mother-daughter feud. They are going to compete. So you want to be here so you can shout out some answers, but I'm not going to share them on the screen. So don't even try it, okay? I'll share them after the test. But, you know, I want to say to you, Pastor Lydia, that we support you. You know, we're here for you. I love the ministry, Pastor Janeen. I do. But I also love your ministry.
That's right.
So love, it doesn't have to be, you know, in a pie, like you get the biggest
pie.
Right. Love is love. So I love what God is doing in you.
That's right.
Now, your mom is a legacy. Yes, there's a tenure, but we know that God gives tenure Kairos time.
That's
I mean,
right.
he can have you be in our hearts just as much.
That's
because
right.
you're cut from the same cloth. And I'm talking about God's cloth.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're cut from the same cloth.
That's
but we're there. I'm where I am because of God. But I remember so much. But now my phone has never started going off. I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna go cut that off. But tell us before we go to the game. I remember when I would say to myself, my God, I'm becoming my mom. And it was what I didn't want to become. And I said, oh my God, because I do talk. But sometimes I sit in the car and I look at the neighbors and say, now what are they doing down there? And I'm just talking away, talking to anybody on the phone. Sometimes it's Gerald, sometimes it's Joyce, it could be anybody. And I'm like, look at that. And they're like, what? But I said, oh my God, I'm becoming my mom. So share with us any moment where you felt like you were becoming your mom.
My kids talk about me so bad because I act like my mom when I am calling my husband. And, like if I see a mouse or if I see something that ain't right, and the first thing I do is I start yelling with that Boston dialect. Courtney. So, and they're like, Mom, you are just like your mom. Because my mom used to do that to my dad all the time. She would have that Boston dialect and she would call my dad for everything. Lester. And so I think that's when I do that, then I say, oh man, I sound like my mom. Oh my goodness. And so, that throws me off.
I'm trying to think of what I do. So many things like my mom. Goodness. You know what I've started doing? I've not even told my mom this yet. There's this thing my mom would do where we knew either she was upset. Usually she was upset. She does this thing where she chews the inside of her cheek. So she's quiet.
I heard about that. Somebody at church told me that when Lady J starts putting those lips together, get ready. I'm serious. One of those staff members. Pastor me preach because I already heard it.
Sabrina, I caught
heard it.
myself doing that a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm chewing on my cheek." And I was like, "I'm turning into Janeen McBath." I mean, there's so many things that I'm doing now that I sound like my mom. So it's just too funny. When we're together, there's always a story.
Oh, we always have a story.
Something happening, but
it's so much fun.
I can't get away from this woman. I don't want to, but she's all up in my life.
I love it. I love it. What about you? Okay, I know you already shared, but are you ready? Y'all ready for the game?
Sure am.
Yes.
Okay, so y'all get ready. I'm telling you, post the answers. They won't be able to see them unless they're on Facebook. I'm not going to share any of the answers. So this is called the Mother's Day Feud. I got it online. So I didn't make it up. We're going to play a game called Motherhood Feud, but it was actually Mother's Day Feud. I had to make it mine, even though it isn't. So whomever scores the highest will win. Now, I want everybody to know I'm kicking off Mother's Day, and I got my pastors. Both of them are my pastors. I got them some gifts. They've already opened their gifts. So this is what this is about. This is about gift giving. I got it from one of our favorite stores. So what makes this game unique is, as your game host, now this is not like Jeopardy Family Feud. I have no money for you. No money. So it's not going to cost me a dime. Okay? Man, this is fun. So let's get that straight right now. This is what you're going to get.
I'll take
You're
that.
going to get a go girl. You're going to get a go girl. So if you give a response that's not on the survey, both of you being, then I will decide, and I don't really want to bear that weight. I will decide who scores the highest. So here we go. Let's have some fun. Now, either one of you can blurt out. We'll just see. But, okay, I'll just say start with Pastor Lydia first, then Pastor Janeen, and then the other way. Pastor Janeen first and Lydia.
Hey,
so name something. Here we go. You ready? Okay. So name something a mother should not still have to do for her grown-up children.
Wash their laundry.
Okay. What about you, Pastor Janeen?
Clean their room.
Okay. Wash their laundry was number one with 43. So you win that round. I have to look at that, Pastor Lydia. Right there, laundry was the number one. The other ones were cook, bathe them, which was 10 points, help them dress, pay bills, and then change them. There you go. We got that one. So Pastor Janeen goes first on this one.
Okay.
Name something your mother made you do as a child that you are still grateful for now.
Going to the doctor.
Okay. What about you, Pastor Lydia?
Make my bed.
Okay, now the one. So that's still Pastor Lydia's lead. So they got chores. Oh, that is it. Make my bed. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking for the word chores, but it's chores. Make your bed.
Yes.
So 32, homework 26, brush teeth 18, eating vegetables 17, reading 4, reading is 4, and cooking 3. So if I grade, that's why I'm gonna read y'all the answers, because if I get something wrong, I want y'all to, because I'm not the best judge here. I can't keep up. So here's the next one now. So Pastor Lydia goes first on this one.
Okay.
Something a mom wants every day, not just on Mother's Day.
Peace and quiet.
Okay, what about you, Pastor Janeen?
A phone call.
That's
Another one.
What in the world? Mother's
So
Day.
love is number 1 with 30, respect 20, hugs 20, help around the house 17, flowers 6, appreciation 6, sleep 2. So is sleep, peace, and love?
No. But yeah, I got you.
What?
Lady J.
I'm not winning. This is not a good game.
No. So who goes first this time? I think Pastor Janeen goes first this time. I see.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, name an event. This is an event that mothers look forward to.
Christmas.
Okay, what about you, Pastor Lydia?
Mother's Day.
Well, you got number 1. Look at that.
That's not right.
Mother's Day. I'm telling you, Pastor D, I'm sorry. It really is. She got it. I can't believe it. Mother's Day is number 1 with 30. A wedding 24. Birthday 16. Christmas, Pastor D, 13. Birth of a child. Can you believe birth of a child is below Mother's Day? That is birthday. Birth of a child 10, and anniversary 5, and vacation 2. Now, of course, this is their survey. I mean, if somebody else took it, this is just what they gave, what I saw online.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna see. I think there was one more. I'm trying to scroll down to it. Hold on, y'all. Otherwise, Pastor Lydia's already won.
She is winning.
I like this one.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna try to give Pastor Janeen a chance. I'm gonna do like Jeopardy. I make up my own stuff. Whomever gets this one gets double. If you get it's double for an answer. So this is the last one for the win. Name something a mom does for free that deserves a high salary. Now I like that. I like that. Did somebody say something? I'm sorry.
All right, cook.
Okay. And what about you, Lydia?
Yeah, I just say keeping the house clean. Just clean, keeping the house clean.
Well, I got to add up now. Wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to tell you why.
It's okay. You don't have to add up a lot for Pastor Janeen.
Yeah, I don't. See, 105 for Lydia, but Pastor Janeen at 13, but Pastor Janeen got the number 1 answer on this one that she does for free is cooking. So that makes her 82 at 95, but Lydia's still at 105. Plus you got cleaning, right? Did you say cleaning?
I did say cleaning.
So Lydia, Pastor Lydia has 129. I'm sorry, Lady J. I was pulling for
I know.
Lady J is 95, but
this is a millennial game. This is a millennial game.
That's right. I don't know. I just know I found it online, and the people are having so much fun with this. So I love it. But that was just a wonderful game. So we got people laughing out loud. But see, I thought they were going to put the answers up here. So y'all were obedient. Nobody put the answers. I'm going to bring Tamika back in. Co-host Tamika, I see you. I'm going to see. I think she's frozen. Oh, there you are. Okay, I'll bring her back in. And this has been absolutely, first of all, joyous.
Oh, this is great.
I'm going to use some clips from this because you all just bless my soul. And from the comments, a lot of people. Somebody said tithing. And that's true. They're grown. They don't want the parent. You don't want to tithe for them. So now they want to put the answers up here. So somebody's telling me Evelyn settles. No, that's Tamika. Pastor Lydia's in the lead, and Evelyn, she talking about wash dishes. Yeah. Evelyn, we told you don't post the answers, but now we can show them. But y'all, I just love y'all. I do, and I know the girlfriends echo the same. Only we in our church know what's going on, but I know that Pastor Lydia, you're being prepared to take a greater platform. But I will share this. Pastor Janeen, I definitely miss your women classes, the one that we did and we would talk together. And I remember, and so this is when she said I have to ask Pastor Lydia. That's what I said. I didn't tell y'all what I asked. I said, Pastor Janeen, you need to go back to the classes. I have to ask Pastor Lydia. And so I love that. But I laughed because I was like, what? What? So I knew then this is real. It's a transition and we're moving right along with it. But I shared this with you, Pastor Lydia, eons ago. This is when I used to do classes. I don't know, Bishop was doing his class, Lady Jen. I think you were in it. I'm not sure, but he was teaching us for whatever reasons. And so he told us to write our own epitaph.
Yes.
And I wrote mine. And I don't remember what I said. I said I lived to be 100 years old. Oh. So y'all were gone. Your Bishop was gone. And I said that Pastor Lydia, I didn't call her Lydia. I said Lydia would do my funeral. And I remember he said to the whole class, and I told you this, Lydia, and you said, oh, you never heard that I said that. But he said, you just spoke what we already know.
That's right.
And her mom, what we already know. So he said it was confirmation. So we're here.
Yeah.
Here. I want to live to 100. And, maybe you'll be blessed to do my funeral. Whoever does it will be blessed.
That's
but,
right.
I'm just honored to have you both here, both of you. Seriously. Tamika, what would you like to share?
I will say that this was absolutely amazing. I love the bonds. I learned so much. I have a daughter myself, and we are similar. She always says, we're like best friends. And I have to remind her sometimes I'm still your mama, though. So thank you so much. This was just absolutely special. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
And I love Sabrina. I want to just clap it up. I wish we had pom-poms for you. For creating such a beautiful space for women to just gather and talk and grow together and learn from one another.
That's right.
And just the products that you've made with the tea, it's comforting and it's inviting and welcoming and uplifting women. So just thank you for just having the vision for this, inviting us into your space with, all of your girlfriends. I hope that we'll be new girlfriends.
I want y'all to follow them.
I love it.
Yes. And Pastor Lydia, you're not on social media. You got because you're good. You got to have a following. You got to get on social media.
Look, now I haven't been on for 4 years. I got off Instagram and everything for 4 years, almost 5 years, I think. But I am returning.
Yes.
Because I am making a return very soon. So I'll be back up there so I can stay and interact with everybody. But very, very soon. Maybe on Mother's Day.
Yes, please tag me or whatever. Let me know. I don't care if you email me. Let Brittany let me know because I want to put it up for everybody to follow you. And for those who aren't following Pastor Janeen yet, you can find Pastor Janeen on Facebook and on IG. What's your name on Facebook? Is it Lady J? Yeah, Lady J or Janeen, but Lady J for both. You can find her there. So follow both of them. And I'm just so godly proud of both of you. And for the women, share this interview because this is the inaugural. I've never done this before. I've never done a Mother's Day month. And it's an inaugural celebration. And I wondered if I could carry this off. But, God is good. I prayed and asked him to give me the questions unique to both of you. But I have an advantage because I know the both of you more so than the other mothers that are coming up. But nonetheless, God is moving. What would you like to impart? Nothing to do with my questions. And then this is going to be it. I want each of you to impart something to the women.
Yeah, well, I'll go. So I would just say to each of you, each of the women watching that just embrace the place that God has you in. I don't know if you're a mother or you've been a mother for many years, you have adult children, or you're like a mother to somebody else. There's always something for you to be able to give out. There's something like Pastor Janeen talked about birthing dreams. There's something still within you that is able to bring a dream to another child or even for an older individual, an adult child. So I don't want you to count yourself out ever if you
Right.
don't have children.
Right.
I think Mother's Day is very hard for some people because maybe they don't have the best relationship with their moms, and
Right.
some women who want to be moms and they're not mothers yet. But I would just tell you that the Lord has so many great things in
Yeah.
store for you, and that even though you may have thought the way that you'd be able to even impart something or legacy into someone else, that it may come another way. You may become a foster parent. You may become an adoptive
Yeah.
parent. There may just be a child in your neighborhood who needs a safe place or
Yeah.
somewhere to be at. And what you provide to them is safety and a way to be able to help them continue to grow and flourish and just be all that God wants them to be. So don't ever count yourself out if you don't have the title of mother, that you are still a person who can birth a dream,
That's
a
right.
vision, a purpose for somebody that's close to you. So just always be on the lookout for a way that you can be able to serve another individual or serve a mother or help someone. You are a surrogate. There's so many surrogate moms out there that are so amazing to so many other families, and they don't have families themselves. So
Yes.
just continue to allow yourself to be a vessel
Yeah.
that can just really bring so much joy to another family or another mom or another woman.
Yes. And I piggyback off of what Pastor Lydia said. I think what is so important today for women is that we use our platform wisely and use our space wisely. God's given us an opportunity to raise our voice and to use our voice to minister to other women that are broken and that are hurting. This is mental health month. There are women that are going through so many traumatic things. And so each day when you wake up, you ask the Lord, give me the opportunity to be a blessing to some woman. I love the message that Pastor David preached this past Sunday about capacity, is that God has given us the opportunity when we pray is to expand our capacity where we can use what he puts in us to bless others. And so, you know, every day as a woman, whether you're married, whether you're a mom, whether you're single, whether you're divorced or widow, whatever place that you're in, allow God to use you to use that space to bless others, because God wants the voice of the woman to rise to a place that would bring healing and hope to other women. And so happy Mother's Day to you,
Happy
all
Mother's
moms.
Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
On mute. Okay. I love it. Thank you all so very much. I got all the comments in because everybody says it's simply beautiful. Now, what I want y'all to do is not keep this to yourselves, share it. And when Pastor Lydia is on social media, I'm going to share her information so you can follow her. We got to follow you so that we can keep up with you, because we want to be able to move wherever God is leading you, and mainly we want to be able to support you. Amen. Amen. So what do? We're going to toast. We're going to toast our guests. So this is what we do at the end of each interview. Now they've walked through the wall of fire. They've been tested like the people online for the sororities or whatever, but we already knew them. And we just want to say that you are now christened as girlfriends. Girlfriends. I love it. Thank y'all so much. I'm so grateful to have honored you. I've said enough. And you know what? Watch the interview, share it. And I'm going to see y'all in church.
Yes.
Saturday, what's coming up? Mother's Day first, and then that special Saturday. I love y'all. Mwah.
Love y'all.
Thank you.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. I love you.
To be able